Welcome to my kitchen once again. Cookalong Saturdays. Isn't that what they're called for everyone now? Hello, I've already seen that there's loads of you here. That's very, very, very lovely. So we've got Doug, who's officially a year older now, as am I, as am Sophie as well, who's in the room. So lots and lots and lots of birthdays last week, so I hope that you all had a lovely one. Of course, it's going to be a pretty chilled one, but that's fine. And Jeff is here and also in the next room. He will be the official taste tester today. He didn't really know about that, he's just found out. And we've got Josh. Josh says hello. And we've got Colleen, Patricia, and Michael. I don't know if you commented before, so welcome, Michael, if it's your first time. Sophie, Justine says hello everyone, in need of a chef day, cheer up today. Well, I'm sure that I can, accidentally swear or drop something or something, get the giggles, have like technical gremlins, you name it, could probably do it, and that will cheer you up, babe. George is here from Ottawa. Jojo's in the house. It's great that we've got like George in Ottawa, Jojo in Thailand, probably like, almost like complete like worlds away in the temperature they're at the moment, both here with us. That's really, really lovely. Christine says, good morning everyone, I'll be making this later, my bread has only just come out of the oven. Excuse me, but Christine is not only making homemade vegan cheese, she's also making homemade bread. Like, how amazing is that? All round to Christine's, please. That is just going to be phenomenal. Top marks, top of the class immediately. Okay, so Jeff said, will a few cheesy jokes help? I am sure they will. I am definitely sure that they will. And Doug is sending hugs to Justine. We all send our hugs and love to Justine. I hope that we can cheer you up today. I think Jeff is saying all about him being a taste tester. And he'd better sort his hair out. I thought it was looking pretty good actually. I love his lockdown locks. Denise is here and says good morning and greetings everyone. Rouge says hello everyone, one of my chef students. Paul, thank you for keeping count and also reminding everybody how to share it. So if you can spare a moment, then please do quickly share this to your timeline or any groups that you're in or anything like that, because it just kind of like really helps get the message out and invite more people along to this, just so that they can like learn how to cook better vegan food at home. So that's what we all want. Or they could just come along and laugh at me for a bit. Whichever. I'm totally cool with both. Lisa Marie says, can I use some nachos? Absolutely, bloomin', yes you can. Yes, you definitely can. That's a wonderful idea. And Paul said, I have all the ingredients and we'll be making homemade vegan cheese on toast today. Good. And that is one thing to say that you guys can just like watch it, take notes, ask me questions, and then you can watch it back later, because this all gets saved onto the timeline. It's not going to go anywhere. Don't worry about that. So you can just then like watch it back and you can pause it and that type of thing. So some people prefer to do that. Some people actually prefer to get involved with me and cook at the same time, and it isn't as scary as it sounds. It's actually relatively easy. Justine says, Joss is cooking along today. That's very, very lovely. So you get to put your feet up, and she's going to make you lovely homemade vegan cheese on toast. So just to say, with the amount of this may only make enough for one. So if you want more, then increase the ingredients, basically. So this makes enough for one, and the reason why I did that was because quite often, with cheese on toast, it's something that you're making for a quick lunch, a quick snack for yourself. So quantities are just for one person, I would say. Colleen says beautiful flowers on the counter. Yes, absolutely. These were for Valentine's Day, and they're going really, really strong. These are a bit crazy though. They kind of remind me of Little Shop of Horrors, and I keep thinking that they're about to like start like talking at me and kind of like with a real like potty mouth as well. Hasn't happened yet, but there's still time. Justine says I'm at work with a bad calf muscle. Why are you at work with a bad calf muscle? You should definitely be at home with that. Chef's orders, okay? Oh, thank you, Denise. She just shared this live on Facebook. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And just as Jay's at work, can't put her feet up till she gets in. I really think you should just go home, babe. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so as ever, there is a rainbow somewhere in the kitchen today. I think I'm the rainbow today. I don't know why I'm beaming so much. It's because of you guys. Blatantly, it's because of you guys. It's been a really, really lovely week. I have been developing quite a few recipes with blood oranges, which is absolutely delightful to work with. So that's been a lot of fun. So I will be sharing those recipes on the website soon. I've got a few others to put up there, but do remember that I am keeping that updated. I'm always developing recipes and actually share an insight into how I develop recipes with my chef students. So they're really getting a lot out of that at the moment, you know, getting to kind of like see into my brain, which is quite scary. But you guys can, you know, that may not interest you, but the actual like recipes that I come up with may be of interest to you. So do keep checking the website. We are going through like do over with the website at the moment. So it is going to change its complete look. It's going to look really, really awesome. So do be prepared for that. If you go into it one day like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be like, then that's the reason. That's the reason. Okay, so just as Jay's already had to self-isolate 3 times, I don't think they would take kindly to her leaving, unfortunately. Well, let's not talk about the post office and Royal Mail and all of that business. Yeah, but I hope that she can come home soon and enjoy the cheese on toast that you're going to dutifully make for her. Okay, guys, so really, really, really simple, really easy recipe today. There are so many different ways to make vegan cheese. So many ways to make vegan cheese. And it goes from the very, very easy, and we're going to tackle the really, really easy one today, to the very, 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 very complicated, where you use things like molds and you have to like get a separate fridge because basically like the mold spores, if they're cross-contaminated, then you know it won't work, and then you have to go to the back to the drawing board, and sometimes like you're maturing them for like a month at a time and stuff like that. Wow. That, you know, so there is like this massive spectrum of vegan cheese that is, you know, vegan cheese recipes that we can make now. This is, as I said, really, really super easy one. It takes minutes to make. It's also very cheap as well. One of the issues sorry, Colleen said, mold spores, yum. I know it doesn't sound very good, does it? It doesn't sound very good, but you know, that and more is what was in dairy cheese. So yeah. I mean, I guess, you know, like I'm really into fermenting as well, and that, you know, involves, you know, like good bacteria and, you know, mold and that type of thing. So but yes, I can see it doesn't really sound that flavoursome. Maybe if you're serving it to people, don't mention that. I mean, some people will already be a bit funny about vegan cheese anyway. Don't say, here's your vegan cheese with a side of mould. Let's just keep that secret. Okay. Right, so with this recipe, it is not only simple, and the ingredients are really, really easy to get at most supermarkets nowadays, but it's also cheap. And that's one of the issues with some vegan cheese recipes, is that they can be quite expensive to make. And especially if you're still finding your feet with them, you don't necessarily have a recipe that you know is absolutely, you know, 100% gonna work, and you start trying things out and you're buying like, you know, tons of, you know, almonds and cashews, and that's expensive. That does get very, very expensive. So this is like a super cheap one, which is also wonderful. Right, Justine said, Joss thought you were literally putting cheese in bread and toasting it. We're going to go to a bit more effort for you guys with this recipe today. Okay, so got my really, really few ingredients here. So I'll just walk you through them because I want to tell you like why we use them in a cheese recipe. So first of all, we've got our olive oil. So I always add some olive oil because it will help the cheese brown. Definitely when it comes to melted cheese, the Maillard reaction is a huge part of a grilled cheese. because it's the thing that browns. The Maillard reaction is basically browning. And that's what tells our brains, our simple human brains, that food is tasty. It's the browning. So that's always like one thing to watch out for. And especially if you guys get into gluten-free baking, that's definitely something that you need to consider. And so with our oil, it will just like brown the top of it. So that's a really, really good tip as well for, you know, if like you've sprinkled like some vegan cheese and it, you know, it's one that, you know, doesn't necessarily, you know, kind of brown or anything like that, you could just like add a little bit of oil. I have also added like some mayonnaise as well to the top of, you know, baked potato with some vegan cheese in it, mayonnaise on the top, put under the grill, and it browns up really, really nicely. So the oil is going to do the job of like getting to a really high heat and enabling that browning. Okay, so oh, sorry, I was just reading comments. Jeff said next week baked beans on toast. Don't tempt me. I'll show you how to make a good cup of tea if you want. And that could be the show. Then we have our, what's the next thing? Oh, our plant milk. Okay, so we're going to use some unsweetened plant milk. So you make sure that it isn't the sweetened type. I've used soy milk here. We also have some oat milk in the cupboard, but the oat milk that we've got at the moment is quite sweet, even though it doesn't have any sugar in it or anything like that. It is quite sweet, so I want to use one that's just like really, really plain, isn't going to add any sweetness to it, because if it is a bit too sweet, then we'll end up having to balance it out with more salt, and we don't want to add more salt than we really have to. Okay, so that's our milk, and then our corn flour. So this is corn flour. Used in the UK for, you know, thickening sauces, thickening gravy, stuff like that. So it's the white powdery stuff, really, really cheap to buy. Will last for a really long time. Now in the States, I think you call this cornstarch. I think somebody can tell me if that is right. So corn flour in America is kind of like, you know, thicker and maybe even like a little bit grainy as well. So it's cornstarch that you need. So the fine white powdery stuff, and that's going to help it thicken. So that's the cornstarch that we'll be using. And then we've got our nutritional yeast. Of course, you can actually make vegan cheese without nutritional yeast, believe it or not. And I have done that before, and actually on the vegan cheese course that that I sell for home cooks, that recipe is on there. So it is possible, but you need lots of other ingredients to make up for the fact that you don't have nutritional yeast. So nutritional yeast obviously makes things cheesy. We can call it nooch for today, shorthand. I think that's more of an Americanism, but I absolutely love calling it nutritional, nooch, there we go, if I can remember. Okay, so with the nutritional yeast, or the nooch, you can add as much as you want. Really, it's completely up to you. It's not really going to affect the recipe unless you add like the whole thing into the pan, okay? If we add the whole thing into the pan, what can happen, and what is actually quite an interesting thing to happen in a recipe, is that it gets a bit kind of like stringy and a lot kind of like thicker. And I do have like had a student who developed really, really lovely like vegan chicken pot pie type recipe with this, and it worked really, really well. So, you know, add like, I put in the recipe 1 tablespoon of nutritional yeast, but you could probably go up to 3 without making it change dramatically. Okay, and then we've got some salt. Again, that's a bit of a choose your own adventure thing, but I do think that cheese sauce, melted cheese, should be a bit salty. And we're going to pair it with tomato and bread, and that's going to balance it out. So that's the ingredients. And I wanted to tell you guys about those because when we're thinking of making cheese and adapting it to our own taste and stuff like that, it's great to know what the different ingredients do and why we use them, really, so that then you can adapt it to your own tastes. Okay, and then of course we've got our bread over here. Just bring this over. So the bread that I'm using today is gluten-free bread, and this is by a company called Be Free, and this is their sweet potato loaf. Only buy their sweet potato loaf if you're going to buy bread from them, okay? And the reason why is because their other bread kind of isn't that great. It's quite dry, and this one isn't. So this one is great for, you know, for anything that you would use regular bread for, you know, sandwiches, toast, whatever. Whereas with the other bread, it's pretty much only good for toast because it's just a bit, it kind of tastes a bit stale. But the sweet potato bread is very, very good. Is expensive. So I hope that in the next few years these will come down in price. Okay, so Josh said, allergic to fresh tomatoes. Could I skip the salt too? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Oh, gosh, I didn't realise that you were allergic to tomatoes. Yeah, I mean, you could add something else on top of it if you want to. Just kind of make it a bit more interesting, or you can just have it without. Oh, Patricia said I have the oat barista milk. Yes, that's very nice. That's very nice. Well, there is one that I use that is made in the UK, so the oats are grown in the UK, and you know the milk is produced in the UK and that type of thing, which is very, very nice, but it's far too sweet for this recipe. Far too sweet for this recipe. So, with my bread, I'm just going to toast it on one side because I want it cooked on both sides. So, you know, if you guys want it more toasted, then you can pop it in now. Just keep an eye on it. And then it will be ready for when our cheese is ready. So, I just popped it onto here, and then just going to pop it into the grill. There we go. And we have actually taken the battery out, smoke alarm. You'll be relieved to hear today. Okay, so Colleen says I can't find free bread anymore, so I've been making my own. Well, good for you. Good for you. That's really, really great. And Jojo says pumpkin bread would be good. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And Sophie says, woo, woo, no cow. Who gets the reference? I don't. Okay, right, on to the recipe. I'm going to bring you guys to the overhead camera. So there we go. Right, okay, so as always, there is a rainbow, and you guys have to tell me what is underneath the rainbow today. So we've got our 2 pounds here, and the reason why I've got 2 pounds is because when we're cooking something like this, it needs to cook on a really, really like steady heat. Essentially, we're making a kind of custard. So we don't want it to get too hot too quickly and thicken too quickly because it will get lumpy. So I've got 2 pans here, and you know, you get to know your pans, and this is a stainless steel pan, and it conducts heat very, very well. So ever in a rush, this is the pan to go for. You know, if you're really hungry and you've been working all day and you just want to like stick some food in your tummy, then this is the one to go for. Okay, but this isn't the one to use for today. So I have this other saucepan here, and I know that it conducts the heat slower, and that's absolutely what I want today. So I'm going to go for this one. Okay, so Colleen has already guessed murder-free cheese under the rainbow. No, I'm going to have to hold it up. It is really obvious today because you can just read it. Okay, anybody? Yeah, you can always, yeah, I think you all know. You all know. Right, okay, so the reason why I put this up was because it is also celebrating difference and diversity, Doug, but it is because I want this message to get out to anyone and everybody who is thinking of going vegan, or is vegan, new vegan, or whatever. And that is the message that not all vegan cheese is created equal. So not all vegan cheese is created equal. And the reason why I think that we really, really need to highlight this is because I've heard so many people tell me how they tried vegan cheese and it was disgusting. Okay? I like, if I could have like £1 for every time someone had told me that, I'd be a very, very rich woman by now. So the thing that we have to get into our heads is that with vegan cheese, there's such a wide variety of it. And honestly, some of it is rubbish. Quite frankly, some of it is very, very rubbish. Let me just check. Yay! Right, there we go. Okay. Some of it is very, 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 very rubbish. So, we need to get the message out to everybody that there is such a wide variety of them. There is the yellow rubbery squares that don't taste of anything and they don't melt, and I mean literally, like, what are they for? And then there's, you know, the really, really like high-end homemade artisan cheeses that, you know, have been matured for 3 months and stuff like that. And there is everything in between, and all of the brands like taste a bit different to each other. A lot of them have a different kind of melting capacity as well. But I think that what trips people up is that they think that vegan cheese will be like dairy cheese. And really, if you get a dairy cheese and it's like a cheddar, well, pretty much like most cheddars will like be ballpark the same. Whereas with vegan cheese, it's not like that at all. They are all completely different from each other. So if you have tried vegan cheese and you didn't like it, then try again. Explore all of the different types, and you may well have to, go to health food shops, or even buy from places directly. So that can mean that you can really find some absolutely beautiful cheeses. Now, of course, in the UK and particularly in London, you can go to a health food shop and you can find things like Mouse's Favourites, which are lovely, and New Roots, which are absolutely divine. I Am Not Okay, brilliant name. They do fantastic cheeses. Their truffle cheese spread is divine. Really, 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 really lovely. Now that is like more like the high-end cheese, special occasions, for Christmas, birthdays, that type of thing, and vegan cheese and wine nights as well. Really, really good for those. But then, quite often, like, we want the everyday things. So my the top cheeses that I really, really like is the Vio Life feta style, or I think they call it Greek style, which is absolutely divine. And also I quite like their Parmesan style. So I was just using shavings of that yesterday in a rocket salad, and it was really, 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 really good. And of course, we've got the smoked applewood cheese. So the smoked applewood cheese is one that just, it came onto the shelves in supermarkets and immediately like went off again. It's brilliant, really, really, really good. So if you have tried vegan cheese and you've tried one and you didn't like it, well, you're not trying hard enough. So go out there and eat some more cheese, basically. Okay, right. We've got quite a few comments about that. Right. Oh, Paul says making a good cup of tea should not be underrated. Absolutely. Doug says, yep, he's heard it so many times. Absolutely, yeah. Colin says, my daughter did a campaign for PETA entitled How to Break Up with Dairy. Oh, that's amazing. Jess said, vegan cheese has got so much better over the last few years. I remember some of the ones that used to be out there. Yeah, gross. Really, really gross. I mean, when I first became vegan, I had soy milk, and it was called White Wave, and I drank it, and I was like, I can't be vegan. It's disgusting. Or actually, I'll just give up tea. So I just decided to give up tea instead and stay vegan. So and just as I've heard people say you should give up all cheese, then try vegan cheese later on, so you don't compare, which makes sense. Yes, absolutely. That's a really, really good point, because one of the differences between vegan cheese and dairy cheese is that dairy cheese actually contains casomorphins or casomorphins, which means that it actually has quite a significant effect on people's bodies and what's going on with them chemically as well, which of course vegan cheese doesn't have. Let me just see if we've got any more comments here, and then we'll get on. Let's get on with the cheese. Right, let's get on with the cheese. Okay, right. So our toast is toasted on one side. And now we need to, this is just so complicated, guys. I mean, I don't know how we're going to cope with this. So we've got 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil into our jug. Yay, there we go. There we go. And then we've got half a cup of plant milk here, which is about 125 ml. And then we've got our corn flour. So 1 tablespoon of corn flour. So this is my measuring tablespoon. So just bear in mind, you need to use a measuring tablespoon rather than just like a one that you would eat for dinner. We actually also call this the gin measuring instrument. So 1 tablespoon of that in there. 1 tablespoon of our nutritional yeast in here, and around half a teaspoon of salt. I've got pink Himalayan salt here. Oh. So, oil, milk, corn flour, nutritional yeast, and salt all in there. Whisk. Okay, right. Now, because we've made it quite bubbly, the effect that that's going to have on the cheese on toast is, if you can see those little bubbles around the corner, it will help with that effect. And it just means that the corn flour, the cornstarch, will really mix in very, very easily. So we'll just put that into our pan there. Make sure that we've got a wooden spoon to hand, and then we can put it onto a low heat. So I'm just going to start it on a 3, and I'm going to mix it every now and again, just stir it every now and again to make sure that it doesn't stick to the bottom and go lumpy. And I mean, this is how easy is this, guys? Really, really easy. Okay, so whilst that is doing its thing, I'm just going to prepare my my tomato, and I'm just going to flip the toast over. There we go. So I've just already done that side. I'm going to do that side just a little bit. Just pop it underneath the grill. Okay, guys. So how easy is that? We can just like have a chat about, you know, how your lives are going, how your week's been, if you want to, because this is going to be so quick and easy. This is already thickening. You see what I mean? Like it can go really, really quickly. So this I'm going to turn right down and really keep an eye on it. Really keep an eye on it. And you know, when you're stirring it, you can feel whether it's thickening on the bottom. Karen says, I've been lucky enough to do 2 nut cheese Zoom courses, which were amazing. And Evelyn is asking who runs this. Is that Bruna? Is that Bruna? Because I know that Bruna, I think her surname is Oliveri. I said that wrong. She does a lot of nut cheese or vegan cheese workshops, actually. She's a really, really, really lovely lady. Really lovely lady. Okay, so just gonna cut my tomato, and I always cut it that way, so the stem is just here, and then that will mean that it will keep together. So with our cheese, we're looking for it to become like a thick custard. That's what we're looking for. And it's already getting a little bit thick, so I'm just going to put it to one side. Well, and I did sharpen my knife beforehand. You can actually get a tomato knife, which is such a genius invention, which is a small serrated knife. There we go. Okay. Whoa, it's already done. It's already done. How easy is that? How easy is that? Right, you guys are going to come back to the overhead camera. So basically, what we've made, essentially, is cheesy custard, which sounds really nice. It sounds really nice. So this would be great for like cauliflower cheese as well. Anything that you need like melted cheese on top of as well, like twice baked potatoes, lovely. Okay. Right. Okay, so my toast is done. There we go. Right, there we go. Okay, so the thing like with a lot of like this type of cheese is that we really do have to kind of melt it, make it into this kind of like liquid, and then pop it on here and brown it, which can seem a bit weird because we can be very used to like having like a solid block of cheese and then you know, grating it and popping it on here and then it melting, and it's not quite like that with vegan cheese, or with this type of vegan cheese. I'm just going to cut this tomato because I would like to use 4 really good pieces. There we go. Okay. Oh, Evelyn says, how do I find Bruno's course? I think if you, oh yeah, Karen says, Made in Hackney. Yeah, that's who she teaches through. Okay, so now when I'm making this cheese on toast, I put a little bit of the cheese on first. There we go. And you don't have to be like delicate with it or make it look pretty or anything like that. You know, this is like one of those dishes that is delightfully kind of messy. Okay, and then top. Yum, yum, yum. But I'm just going to make sure actually it gets over to those edges of the bread, just so that I don't burn those bits of bread. Yay! Oh my gosh, this smells really, really lovely. Okay. There we go. So now we can just pop it back underneath the grill. There we go. Okay. Okay, so we just need to leave that for a few minutes to do its thing. It is quite high, quite close to the grill. So you do need it to be quite high, so that it has that like really, you know, that really high heat, that real like big impact, and so that the oil can get to a high temperature and then it can start browning and that type of thing. So around like 5 minutes, maybe a bit more than that, maybe like 10 minutes, something like that. So Doug says, who gets to clean the grill? What are you trying to say? And let me just see if we've got any more questions while we're waiting for this to cook. Oh, Jojo says the Gentle Chef also has some wonderful vegan cheese recipes you can download. That's a great tip. Thank you for that. Thank you very much. Okay, right. So that's kind of, you know, the brunt of the work, really. Like, we've done like pretty much all of it. We just got to wait for it to grill, and that's it. That's it. But just to say, actually, guys, the bread that I was using is very, very small. So I don't want you to be deceived by that. You know, me saying like this is just for one, and then you're looking at it thinking like, gosh, you've got quite an appetite, haven't you? These are very small, very small, very small. It's not just that like my hands are really big. Yeah, it would be that right. It would be that way around. Oh, Justice, oops, fire alarm. Yeah, see, I had to get Jeff to take the battery out before we started the show because I knew that it would go off. So yeah, this bread that I'm using is very, very small. So this is for one person, really, really. But I'm going to share mine with Jeff. Of course I am. Yeah, so just do bear that in mind. So it is what one portion really, like for a lunch. I would say for this recipe. Lisa says, I need a new chef knife. Any recommendations? Well, funny you should say that. I have a blog specifically about that. So if you go to my website, which is theveganchefschool.com, you will find that I have a very, very young blog in there. Only 4 posts on the blog so far. Lots and lots and lots of recipes. Loads and loads of recipes. But only 4 blogs so far. And one of them is on how to choose a chef's knife and what to consider. Because it is like, it's quite I can't just like give you like one, you know, a one sentence answer. It's something that you have to think about more. So there's a lot of detail in there, and also some recommendations of some good brands as well. So do check that out. I think that it might be done. Let me have a look. Oh. Did you hear my exclamation? I get far too excited about this. Right, here we are, guys. Let me just move these to one side. There. Yay! Look at this. Right, let's come to the overhead camera so that you guys can see properly. And I'll lift it up so that you can see the browning. That's what we want. That's what we're after. Okay, see that lovely like brown bit? That's the Maillard reaction. That tells our brains it's yummy. And the taste of it will tell our tummies it's yummy. So I'm just going to grab a plate to put this on. And the thing that I do like about this, having the tomato on, is it means that the tomato is slightly cooked as well. So it's just you know, it's not overcooked, so it's not watery or anything like that. But it adds a sweetness, so it balances out that saltiness of. It balances out the saltiness of the cheese. So, how about that, guys? How easy. Hey, there we go. Okay, so the ingredients list, I'll try to do the ingredients so that it's going to be like quite easy for you to remember. You know, there's 1 tablespoon of olive oil, half a cup of milk, 1 tablespoon of corn flour, 1 tablespoon of nutritional yeast, and half a teaspoon of salt. So hopefully after like a few times making it, you know, you won't even need to read the ingredients or anything like that, because this is one of those recipes that you want to just be able to knock up when you just want like some immediate food in your tummy. so it needs to be as easy as possible. Okay, so thank you for joining me today. I hope that you have enjoyed this, and I hope that you make it. And please do share images of the cheese on toast that you have made in the group, so the community hub. I really love to see all of the pictures of you guys with what you have made. So thank you so much for joining me, and of course, as always, have a good day.